There seem to be some pretty odd looking turkeys out here in the Hunter Classic for the April Fool's event, and today we're gonna head out and try to get as many of them as we can. All of our weapons are specifically focused on just being able to get turkeys, so we have the 22 LR, we have the cableback bow, and we've got the crossbow pistol. There are 4 different variations for the turkeys, and hopefully by the end of the hunt, we'll get to see all 4, and maybe we'll get some big enough to go in the event lodge. Now, one of the things that's been so cool about this event has been that a lot of times turkey hunting from a tree stand is just kind of the most efficient way, so we spent a bunch of time just sitting in tree stands calling in every turkey, buck, bull, everything that calls, and we're approaching 850 kills with the cableback bow, so we're getting close to the point where we'll be able to retire that bow for forever. This is a common hen, so not one of the variations, though probably a good thing. We want some gobbler variations. But what we're going to do today, rather than sitting in the tree stands, is just kind of walk around, use the locator call, and try to get onto as many gobblers as we can. On the plus side, our first gobbler of the hunt is a pretty good one, 55 to 65. However, he is also a common, and he definitely is onto us, so gotta get that shot off quickly. Had a bit of a weird setup here just because the way the land laid. Decided to sit right beside the gobbler, and that little bit of distraction that the decoys add may have been the reason he didn't take off and we were able to get a shot, but this guy may just crack 60 plus. He's pretty low weight though, made a hard shot, 61.5 score ain't bad. If we could just get that on one of the different variations, we'd be all set. And by the way, they're not at all uncommon. You see them pretty frequently, so just a bit of bad luck so far. Finally, it took a little longer than expected, but we get to see one of the variations that we're after today. And this one with the orange feathers is actually called the gangsta variation, which I was not ready for that when I finally got my first one of these. And fortunately, I was recording. I wasn't planning on using any of the audio, so the mic is kind of far away, but I really wanted to play my reaction just to finding that out, because I had no idea that that's what it was going to be called.
Gangsta.
What?
That's the name of the orange one. And admittedly, I was kind of under the impression that maybe they went with all kind of hunting theme ones. There was a camo one like on their promotion of the event, and then this orange one was one of the first ones I saw, and as you can see, got the gangster rarity, 35 score, and if you want to know why it's called that, if we set this up in a good position for a trophy shot, you can kind of see where they came up with the idea to name it. Now we're getting a little summer. We do have a camo gobbler coming in. 35 to 45, so gonna be better than the gangsta one that we just shot. And we'll try to go cableback bow again if we can. We do have a decoy down to our right, so in theory, we've got that bit of distraction on our side too. Definitely just saw us, but that's gonna drop him in his tracks. So we've already gotten to see 2 of the variations, and the camo one is my favorite, and we don't have a big one of that yet. I've been recording whenever I get to hunt for these things, just in case we can get any decent ones, and that's the one I want the most, and we've just not been able to get any above like 45. But they're kind of neat looking. We've got the whole thing, like from the tail all the way up to the head, that's camouflaged, and then just like from the eyes forward is the regular color. Of course, the beard is the regular color as well, but we managed to make another hard shot here, camo rarity and a 38 score, so not exactly big ones, other than of course the common. But that just seems to be the way it goes. At the very least, finally we do get to see why we brought the crossbow pistol, and it's for mainly situations like this, when we have one turkey that comes in way in front of everything else, because there are quite a number out here in the field, and for whatever reason that hen was way ahead of the rest, but we have one good one here, which of course is a common again, 55 to 65, and if that particular situation would just stop happening, we'd probably have one of each variation being 60 plus already. It just seems like it's really consistent. The biggest ones we find are always the common variant. And of course, by the way, the hen that's coming in is a gangsta variant, one of the more common, I would say, April Fool's variation, but there's another gobbler there. I think we're probably gonna have to go like crossbow pistol and 22 here. This guy is kind of decent as well. He is 50 to 60, and just again, like a pretty good one. That is not going to be something that we can put in our event lodge, but we're going to hit that guy, and then swap to the 22, and hopefully get a crack at this guy too. That'll work. So that's going to be 2 more decent ones. And Just unfortunately, not adding anything to the April Fool's list, but we got our common in here. There are a lot of commons in this particular server, it seems. 17 meters body shot, that's why that crossbow pistol is so good. Anything, it seems like inside of 30, regardless of where you hit the turkey, they'll drop, and that is a big deal when it comes to trying to get as many as we can. This was the 50 to 60, hard shot him a 56 score, and I'm imagining this one's going to be at least 55 plus, if not over 60. And while it does seem like we're mostly just getting commons, it will happen. I mentioned I've been recording throughout this event anytime I get a chance at one of these April Fool's turkeys, as we have a 60.8 for that guy. And actually, one of the very first encounters we had with a candy variation turkey, which we have not yet seen today, was a pretty good one. He had an estimate of 60 to 70, so I knew he was going to be big. Took the shot, and it actually turned out he was a 61 score, so our first of the 4 variations going over 60, and that one's going to go straight into the event lodge, alongside all the other things that we've gotten over the years. Maybe we're starting to kick the trend here. We're almost 2 hours into this hunt, but for the first time, we actually have an April Fool's variant bigger than a common, though not by much. This guy's a double-bearded 45 to 55, so probably going to score like 48 or something like that. And I think in this case, because we're not going to worry about the common anyway, we'll just pop in with the 22, let the common get away, and we can continue moving on, because there are still 2 variants that we haven't seen at all today. Now, the candy variant that we shot the 61 of, I find those are probably the most common, so it's pretty bizarre that we haven't even seen a single one. The other variant we haven't seen is kind of a rust brown color. It's called Russet, and that one I do find is probably the least common. As for this guy, got him right there in the side with the 22, 9.4 kilo, actually I think that was the score I predicted, 48.8. If only it was one of the other variants, or just, you know, somewhere in the 60 range. And speaking of the russet variation, we finally have one here. We actually fast traveled back to where we started the hunt, and this guy had gobbled at the very beginning, and he just, for whatever reason, didn't come in. So glad that we ended up finding him. We'll drop him there as we have another hen coming in. And now, including the 61 scoring candy that we shot earlier in the event, we've at least gotten to see all 4 variations. I'm still shocked we haven't seen one in this hunt, but I guess that just kind of is what it is. But we'll just go ahead and get this hen down as well. Just adds another kill to our total with the cable bag. And we'll take a quick look at that russet. Like I said, I find the least of them. There was another one there, and that was a russet too. Don't know, is that a hen? I think. We'll get a track and make sure. I actually saw 2 different birds up there, 1 common. Either way, this we hit in the neck. That's the only reason that it dropped in its tracks. This guy, though, looks like we hit him right up under the wing. He was a double beard again, by the way. 39 score, which has been the score of like almost all of our April Fool's variants. But we'll go up through here, check the tracks, make sure there were no gobblers, and we'll maybe just spend a little bit longer looking for a candy variation, and that'll more or less wrap it up. And while this one may not have a beard, it does complete our lineup of the April Fool's turkey variation. So we're going to go ahead and plink that with the 22, and I think using the 22 will be fitting. As I mentioned, I've been recording throughout this, and I did have one more encounter with another good size April Fool's variation, and naturally, it was the Gangsta. I actually thought it was a russet the entire time until it took off, and after some really great shooting, I was able to take it down, and it turned out to be, for the moment at least, our biggest of the event, a 63 score, and that one now fills the 2nd spot in our lodge. That was another reason I actually wanted to go ahead and spend time looking for a candy variant. We have a bit of time until we can fast travel again, and that time should pretty well be up, but I do want to go and visit them in the event Animals Lodge, which at this point is darn near full. These were some of the last things that we needed. We're basically down to just this back wall, and between the Halloween event, if they do it the same way again this year, and the Christmas event to get a Rudolph reindeer, we could end up completing it this year. But it's nice to get these large round platforms filled, and actually I don't think they look like this like live, but their beards are even like kind of matching the color variation. I'm almost certain on their feet the beards are the normal like black color. That will be interesting to pay attention to in the future. I thought for sure they were. Maybe it's just certain variations that are, but still, pretty neat to have them. I think what I would like is probably a camo and either a russet or a candy. Like, obviously this is a pretty wild variation, and it just fits perfectly into the entire theme of the lodge, but it's quite cool. We started this lodge, I think back in 2017, with the first of the mythical reindeer that we got, and all this time later, all these things, here in 2023, still adding to them with these event animals. But anyway, I think on that note, that is going to do it for this video, so as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.